What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Two Knicks Chicks. I'm your girl, Lady, and the Chef, joined by my co host this evening.
Diva 21, what's up?
It's good to have you back, Diva Locks.
Yeah, I was working and I was tired. So
We get it. I mean, that's people have to grind, and we have lives outside of content creation. But
for
nonetheless,
sure.
we are still looking to build this channel. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today for another episode. Today, we wanted to pretty much do a quick rundown of the Knicks' last game, where the Knicks did play Toronto. Both RJ Barrett and IQ came back to the Garden after being traded. And we just wanted to go over that game really quickly and give us our predictions for this week's upcoming games. But the Knicks did pull out a win against Toronto. They won 126 to 100. The Knicks are now sitting at 26 and 17. I thought the first half, the game was very close. I thought that the Toronto Raptors was running a very fast paced game against the Knicks. I thought it was very high energy, high pace. But it wasn't until I feel like midway in the third, late in the third quarter, where I found the Knicks did make a nice run and were able to pull away. But in the first half, I just thought it was just a lot of turnovers, too. I think the Knicks had 21 turnovers in that game, which is way too many. The Knicks, again, as something else that's a concern for me, is that the turnovers are way too high. Sure, it's resulting in a win, but the Knicks are actually getting turnovers, in the games. First quarter was tied at 31 points. Second quarter, New York outscored Toronto by two. It was 26 to 28. Third quarter, New York outscored them also at 33 to 21. And same thing for the fourth. New York scored 34, Toronto 22. So again, you can tell by the scoring with the first quarter, second quarter, it was very close. And it wasn't until the third where the Knicks really started to pull away. But otherwise than that, I thought it was a good, solid win. Your thoughts on the game and what you saw from, or if did you saw anything from RJ Barrett or Emmanuel quickly?
Well, I want to start off, with that tribute. That was, awesome for the Garden to do that.
Yeah,
Um, it was emotional because I was emotional. I saw like, IQ, he was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna cry," but he held his emotions in check. But it was a nice tribute, for them. And that's what the Garden do. That's what New York do. So it's
right.
nothing unusual. Um, but overall, it was nice to see him come back. We got the W, so that's the most important part. And as I was, watching the game, I saw, RJ, and I was like, okay, this is why you know, he was I don't want to make light of it, funny, but but this is why he was traded because you saw the flashes. Not that I was expecting him to go off, but it's just, you just like just okay, well, we got the best end of the deal. And kudos to them. They will flourish, like Randall said. They'll find their niche and they'll flourish. If it's not with Toronto, it would be with someone else. Because again, it depends on the coaching and the system. But overall, I mean, there was just like some highlights that just for the Knicks. You know, kudos to Precious. Stepping up in Ihart's absence. It was nice to see him step up and get that double double. Because that's again you know, with the minutes, the extended minutes that the starters are playing, there's no true, real backup center, as you keep alluding to. There's no true backup, point guard. So it was nice for him to just step up. And just outside of, of course, Brunson's doing Brunson things, and Randall, you know, he was getting the shots that he wanted, and yeah, he has some turnovers, but that's par for the course with Randall. And just letting the game, not letting the defense dictate, his shot selection and just overall how he played the game. But it was a nice win, and I I got some more things, but that was just just nice, just for them to get that win.
Yeah, I agree, especially with the trade that happened. I felt OG also had a really good game. I thought he had a solid win. And to be honest, to me, he's been very consistent so far since he's been acquired by the Knicks. So he's
Yeah.
been a nice fit and a nice addition on this Knicks team and then playing under Thibodeau. Um, Precious, I thought had a really good game. I know some people have, Knicks fans have stated that they thought that Precious was trash or that he wasn't a good fit, but I felt like it was a big part of that was the minutes. He's not getting the minutes. So how could he showcase what he can do if he's not getting the minutes that, he should be getting? So do you feel like he's somebody who can bring what he did against Toronto as a solid backup if Tibbs gives him the minutes? Do you think he can be a factor in the offense for the Knicks as well as the defense?
Well, one game is not going to dictate. You need to see more play of him, more flashes of what he can do before you hold back on just trying to explore, you know, a backup center. He played, great yesterday. Um, in Ihart's absence. So maybe this is what we will see from him. If it's not a double double every night, but
Mhm.
just the flashes of hit down the paint and what he can do. But I think maybe we need to see more of him because Ihart is playing a lot of minutes just overall, and you just wonder, well, what toll will that take on him, as we progress? I mean, we are at the halfway mark of the season, so you just you don't want to wear him too thin, so maybe he can help us in that regard.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think that it's going to be something we'll see from him every night consistently. But I think if he does get the minutes, I think that he can be more of a factor than if Tibbs tried to put Sims in a game, which he hasn't.
Yeah,
If you really look, Taj Gibson was actually getting those couple of minutes that Sims should have been getting. So that tells you right there that there's nothing wrong with Sims' ankle. It's a lot better. I just think Tibbs is not trying to go down that route as the Knicks are trying to build, and as a coach, you have this pressure from the organization to not fall below what you did the previous season. So I think that Tibbs is just not really trying to take that chance or that risk. And maybe also, it was a little off-putting that he saw, you know, Sims get hurt in that game so quickly when he did get hurt. So, he probably was just like, I don't have time for this. But yeah, I thought that, like I said, I thought Precious had a pretty good game. He was a nice contributing factor for the game with a nice double double. He finished with 18 points, 11 rebounds, and played 25 minutes. Quentin Grimes finished with 4 points, 4 rebounds. He played 20 minutes. Josh Hart finished with 10 points, 9 rebounds. He played 26 minutes. Dante DiVincenzo finished with 17 points. He played 20 minutes as well. Jalen Brunson played 35 minutes, finished with 38 points, 9 assists, 5 rebounds. Isaiah Hartenstein only played 23 minutes, finished with 4 rebounds. Julius Randle played 32 minutes. He finished with a triple double with 18 points, 16 rebounds, and 10 assists. And OG Anunoby played 37 minutes, had 14.7 rebounds. So I thought that Isaiah Hartenstein clearly played less minutes and Precious played a little bit more just because I know late in the third, Isaiah Hartenstein did tweak his ankle a little bit. So I know we were talking about it before you and I got on, and he's listed as day to day. So I think that's something else that should alert Tibbs and the coaching staff that you're going to have to play Precious and give him at least 10, 12 minutes a game and sit Isaiah Hartenstein down some. And I
yeah,
didn't think necessarily that Toronto took Hartenstein out of the game. I thought it was just one of those nights where Hartenstein was just off to me from what I saw. It was just one of those games where it was an off night for him. And
yeah, yeah,
sometimes
for
that happens
sure.
to players where it's just an off night. I didn't think it was necessarily fatigue. I just thought it was just a typical player off night for him. And as far as stats go, Knicks was at 54%. Toronto was at 41. Three-pointers, the Knicks were 14 for 39 at 35%. Toronto was 32%. Free throws, the Knicks was 16 for 20 at 80%. Knicks finished with 61 total rebounds. Toronto had 31. Knicks had 15 offensive boards. Toronto 11 defensive rebounds. The Knicks finished with 46. Toronto 20. So the Knicks did do a great job with the rebounding. Assists, Knicks finished with 27, Toronto 29. Knicks had 7 blocks, Toronto 5. Toronto had 10 steals, the Knicks had 4. Turnovers, Toronto only had 10, the Knicks had 21, which is way too many. Now, points in the paint, I thought the Knicks did a better job considering the last maybe 5 games where the points in the paint has been really low. They did have 64, so I did like that. But the turnovers is still way too high. And with the Knicks going into the postseason, I think that that's going to be a problem for them if they're not able to protect the ball. And one thing you and I were talking about early on the phone was that one thing I noticed in the first half of that game was that Randle does this. He has this bad habit of when he drives to the basket, he's not trying to do anything fancy, but I was comparing him to how when you watch Brunson drive, right? When Brunson drive, he's able to get bumped and he can let his body bounce off of the defender and create his shot. Randle does that sometimes, but a lot of
Yeah.
times he drives, and because he sees that wall of defense, he jumps in the air and throws the ball as he's in the air. But when he jumps in the air and makes that pass, either if you're Grimes or DiVincenzo or whoever else, you have to be prepared because you don't know where he's throwing that bullet pass of a pass to, or where is it going. And sometimes guys have to move in that direction, move their body in the direction of where that pass is going. And what we were alluding to earlier in our conversation was that teams are going to be able to read those passes because watching film, they're going to say Randle has this habit of driving to the basket, jumping, and while he's in the air, he's kicking the
Yeah.
ball to the perimeter, which could be stolen. So I really didn't like that he did that. But in the second half, he moved away from doing that and was a lot more under control throughout the game. But I just don't want to see him throwing those silly passes like that. And, they're subject to being stolen like that. Salute to die for. He said, throw, huh? More like a bullet quarter. Yeah,
Ex-
it is.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
a bullet pass that really doesn't have any direction of who's it's going to. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying every pass needs to be a direct chest pass that's going to a player that like, hey, I'm throwing you or I'm throwing you a bounce pass. But what it doesn't make sense to me why you would drive and then wait till you, and Clyde says it a lot. When you hear the Knicks commentating, Clyde, when he's commentating the Knicks games, he says that a lot. He goes, I don't know why Randle drives and throws the pass while he's in the air. It makes no sense to me why he does that. It's just such a dangerous, silly pass. And honestly, I get so uncomfortable. It makes me cringe every time he does that because I'm like, why are you throwing that kind of pass? And I've seen teams, somebody will come in and then they steal the ball. And I'm like, that's because that pass is not a good pass. It's not, and thank goodness guys like Grimes or DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, they're able to move to where the pass is going because sometimes it literally, like if I was sitting that close, I'd be like, damn, I'd be holding my drink. You don't know whether to hold the drink or put it in the floor because you don't know if the pass is going to come near your face or if it's going to, go towards your knees or whatever while you're sitting in the front because it's just a horrible pass. I hate the way he does that pass in general. But nonetheless, the Knicks got the win. It wasn't an ugly win like the last game. The Knicks are sitting at fifth in the Eastern Conference. And I think that it's important that the Knicks continue to capitalize on wins this month. Just because you don't want to, like I said, you don't have to wait till it's All-Star weekend to say, okay, I'm going to make a change. Like starting now, it's a new year, it's midway in the season. I think that the Knicks, especially with a lot of these home games, need to capitalize and go after those wins. Um, but anything else that stood out for you or any players from that game?
Yeah, well, just overall they played, solid defense, on you know, which they're getting back up there to the upper echelon as far as playing, their defense, and so that was a solid, defensive effort, just good ball movement, um, again, great rebounding for like collective team effort, 61 to 31. So, they did pound, the ball, the glass. So that was, nice to, it was a nice advantage, for the Knicks. And just like Josh Hart, nice spark. Sometimes with Josh, he's like the Energizer bunny, man. You just wind him up and he goes.
Right,
So it was a nice spark off the bench for him. Um, yeah, just overall, and Grimes, I don't know, maybe he needs to get out his head, or he's hearing the chatter about, but he got quite a few teams interested in him, so which is, you know, that says a lot for his game, just overall, teams, the interest that they have in him. So, if
do
it,
you think it's
he,
his game or that Grimes is still young and has time to develop?
no,
Keep
definitely,
harping on that. I need to turn something off on my stove, but keep talking, I can hear you.
no, definitely he's young. Because he's what, 23, so he can be used as a first rounder, if it's time for him to, get, utilized for a trade. But no, definitely because he's young. But wherever he go, I always said these players, if they don't flourish here, it can possibly someplace else, because again, all coaches have their own style of play and systems in which the players work from. So if it's not the Knicks, he'll definitely, be great someplace else. Because he's really struggling.
Yeah,
Again, I don't know, it's definitely lately because his name is being, out there, just the chatter. Um, but he
I
just
feel
he
like I feel like Josh Hart was like this though before the trade talk chatter. The struggles were there.
No, you mean Grimes?
Grimes, excuse me, Grimes was
Grimes.
like this
Yeah,
before, and I remember you even made a comment saying that maybe he should go to the G League, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that because at one point Deuce McBride was doing that.
yeah,
And Deuce worked on his game. And it's funny how when you see Deuce in the games, like you were saying, they said Deuce is loose. Deuce looks confident out there.
yeah, yeah,
Like you don't need Deuce to give you 20 a night, but he just looks like he's confident out there playing alongside these other guys who's been playing in actual games within the league. And Grimes, I don't know. See, with me, I don't know if this is like to me, I think it's a combination of it's Grimes doesn't fit under Tibbs' coaching style, and I don't think Grimes is a fit with this team with the Knicks. I thought Grimes would have been good coming off the bench, but I don't think I think it's a combination of he doesn't fit under Tibbs' system, and I don't think he's a fit for this team. I think Grimes would be a great fit on another team, but I just don't. And he did like what I was telling you, those quick shots, because he needs to work on developing some handle to his game.
it's that, and also again a confidence thing. Cause you just said how Deuce, you know, different people lack confidence in different areas, and it could be a confidence also with Grimes. You
Hmm.
know, just the fact that he know what he can contribute, but he's just, for whatever reason, he's holding himself back.
Right.
Um, so it could be a combination, all three of those: confidence, just not fitting in, and so forth, and with the team and the system. Um, but yeah, exactly. Grimes is in his own head, and I think that that's what it is. He's in his own head, and maybe, change is sometimes, for the better. Maybe he do need to, possibly, take his, his skills someplace else, and so he can, flourish and get into the, the offense of a different team system, and because he's young. He
Yeah, and
he
I
ha-
think
he
with
ha-
him being young, he has time to develop his game. I just think that Grimes truly needs to in the off season. he has more work to do to his game. And I know that's the clear, obvious thing, but I think if you can't come in a game and make an impact in the minutes that you're getting, teams are interested in you because they see the potential of what Grimes can be, right? And the
Hmm.
shot that he has. But I think, again, I keep alluding and going back to Deuce. Deuce is coming in the game and he's ready to shoot that ball. Remember when Deuce was only getting 4 or 5 minutes and we was like, look at Deuce, he chucking up a shot. But it wasn't, I'm just chucking it up. And I'm going to say in Deuce first, second year, he was doing that. He would just chuck up something really quickly. But now he reads his spots. He reads the offense. He gets to his spots and he's ready and the shots are going down. But with Grimes, I feel like either he's not in his spot or he is in spots where he should be. But Grimes, to me, he rushes his shot. And that could be just him, maybe the way he shoots. Maybe he could be like a Ray Allen, where Ray Allen was able to catch that ball and shoot it so quickly.
Yeah, spot up shooter. Yeah.
Right, right. But I just think that he needs to develop something, some kind of ball handling skills to be able to create space from the defense, right? Because when Grimes can't get past somebody, he goes back and passes it to whoever else, whether that's Brunson, Randle. He's looking to make the pass instead of driving. And it's we've only seen Grimes drive maybe 3, 4 times, a handful, if that.
Again, that comes from confidence, getting out his own head, and just be able to create his own shot. And that's what he needs to work on.
Yeah. Grimes shoots the basketball like he's running from Freddy Krueger. Yeah. He literally does.
Yeah.
Like it's true. I don't know why he shoots the ball so freaking fast. I'm like, you don't have to shoot it that fast. The shot clock has plenty of time left on it, but he like chucks it up so fast. And I think it is, you're right. It's a confidence thing. And it's also Grimes has to work with someone who can show him some moves that he can have under his belt. I'm not saying you got to go out there and be Brunson, Kyrie, spinning off of people getting to the basket, but he needs to be able to afford himself some spacing from the defense, whether that's a
Yeah.
quick step back or something to shake his man off of him really quick so he can, because he's just not, I don't know. I for sure see Grimes growing in his game, but I don't see Grimes being a fit with the Knicks, and it's just too much inconsistencies with Grimes. I just don't think that he's lived up to the hype. And I'm hoping that the Knicks could package him and Fournier off for somebody. Again, we see the Knicks, the Knicks like to CVS coupon shop. They're looking for the 40% coupon and get somebody at a deal and
Yeah.
waiting to the last minute.
Yeah, speaking of getting somebody, I saw something on BR. Bruce, they said now players oh my gosh, they advocate. In other words, they're interviewing for the for a position, and they said they pointed out Bruce Brown. He said, "I don't, you didn't see that." He said, "Oh, I'll be a good fit
Fit on
for
the Tibbs
Tibbs.
system. Yeah, for
Yeah,
Tibbs.
for Tibbs
Yeah.
system." I mean, well, it's nice because at one point we didn't nobody wanted to
He
come
wanted to
play
come
for the
here.
Knicks. So and his name has been thrown in there
Hmm. Hmm.
as as a backup. There's quite a few. Hey, but I think as far as, will they, beat that deadline? Maybe. But if not, I truly, you know, believe that they're gonna try to get somebody on the cheap, like sort of like a rental, and then save all those first picks for that player that becomes available. Because money talks, and all teams always say, "Oh, we're not parting with this person, that person." Because they are the franchise, and that could be true. Because I know the Knicks certainly wouldn't part with Brunson, because he is the franchise player, and they are. So certain teams will hold true to that, but I think the Knicks, that's what they, gonna hold for those picks, and just hoping that they could, get someone, like a Brogdon or Clarkson, to come in to fill in that backup point guard, and those guys would probably be a good option. But at this rate, you know, Grimes, like either you show up or you get shipped out.
Yeah, I
And,
agree. I mean,
and he,
it's not working. It's not
yeah,
working. It's just like, at this point, I think Grimes is also getting minutes because, again, I'm sure the coaching staff sees the potential as well, but there's really no other option of who you can bring in off the bench. And that's one of the problems that, I spoke about in the last episode is that the Knicks, I've been saying this since the beginning of the season, the Knicks truly don't have a solid bench and they lack depth in those other positions on the team. But I don't know. I think, well, we know that Brunson is going to be due for a big payday, and same thing with Randle. And the way they're playing, the Knicks are going to pay them. And I know you were even saying, like, hey, if somebody comes in who's better than Randle, the Knicks are going to do what they need to do. But I don't know. I think Randle is still a big fat question mark as far as what the Knicks keep him. But I think that the Knicks have to the front office has to focus on moving in a direction that's going to be better for the team,
yeah,
because
beneficial.
we're trying
Yeah,
to be right. We're trying to be championship contenders and not, first round, second round playoff team. I think, like I said, the Knicks have to establish themselves as a team who makes the playoffs, and they're known to make the playoffs every season, but also that we're vying for a championship. You and I spoke about this. It's been decades since the Knicks have won a championship. Like, enough. We don't have time to be rebuilding. We don't have time for this. You have the picks. Let's move in a direction of championship caliber status within the team. And it's time that the Knicks do that. So being that Ihart is injured, y'all think we should go after a power forward center as well? Well, I think Ihart is day to day. I'm hoping that his ankle injury isn't major, and that it was just something that was just a tweak, a minor sprain. But I think if he can be okay, I think the Knicks, again, I've been saying that I think the Knicks do need to get another center backup piece, because my thing is, okay, Mitch comes back, but I think when Mitch comes back initially, he's going to be playing how Randle did at the start of the season, which is going to be kind of, not 100%, just because he hasn't played in real in game live situations. So I think that Mitch will be ready to come back, but I don't think that he's going to be able to play like he did at the start of the season, where he was high energy, explosive.
yeah, he's
I
gonna
could
be playing with caution.
Right, exactly. So he doesn't tweak his and hurt himself again. So technically, the Knicks do need to hold on to Precious Achua. Not saying that they were looking to ship him off, but he's going to be a vital piece because while Ihart tweaking his ankle, you're not going to have Mitch is not really expected to come back to damn near when the playoffs start. But
Yeah, and they
again,
try.
that's when it turns up. So like you need somebody who's going to come out with that energy. We can't have somebody who's going to be just kind of like not 100% fully. So I don't think that right now they should go after. I do think that they should still get a backup center,
Yeah,
but I don't know if the Knicks are gonna do that because they're banking on Mitch coming back. What do you
yeah.
think?
Yeah, me personally, I feel that they should. We're lacking. We need a center, power forward, and a shooting guard. So, which avenue they're gonna go, that's to be determined. But right now it's too early to, if Ihart can rest, you know, they play what's the next game is what Tuesday.
Against?
That's Brooklyn. So
Hmm.
maybe he can sit this one out because he can give his ankle a chance to heal some more. But now if it becomes serious, then it's like okay, um, they need to look into that option, getting someone to back up because we don't know when Mitch is coming back. It's not like they're giving us a time till we expect him back by X, Y, and Z.
Exactly.
Even after the All Star, hopefully we'll hear something then. What the latest update with Mitch, but certainly they do need a backup center. and a point guard. Um, so yeah, right now I would just hold off, just to see, how's his ankle and
Yeah,
what's the
same.
status of that.
Yeah. But I don't right, I agree. I don't think that the Knicks are gonna go after a center trade right now. But I think they definitely need to go after a shooting guard. Um, a guard guy who can come in and get you buckets. And if we can, somebody who could also at the same time handle the ball and who could bring up the ball. Because, like I said, I don't think Deuce is necessarily ready to do that. And he can handle that position to the degree of what Brunson can do. So, I think it's still a waiting and see game. I think the Knicks are still, like I said before, they're going to wait to the last minute to make that move. So we'll see. Um, but yeah, the Knicks have 3 upcoming games this week. They play Tuesday against the Brooklyn Nets, again on Thursday against Denver Nuggets, and then they play Saturday against Miami Heat. Your predictions for these next 3 games?
I'm an optimist, so I'm going 3-0.
Wow.
They can be beat just like every other team.
Hmm.
Yes, they can. I truly, of course, Joker, he may possibly get a triple double off of us. Murray, but again, same thing Murray does, Brunson can do.
Yeah.
Randle just has to just, step up and, and then, maybe put pressures on him. Who knows? If you could just take him out his game, then that's an advantage for, make him uncomfortable. Yeah, I'm a optimist, and I'm gonna go 3-0 with the Knicks. We're on a roll.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 2-1.
Yeah.
I think
Ooh.
that it's a tricky one between either Denver or Miami. And actually the Saturday game against Miami is an early game. It's at 3, so it's like a matinee game. But Brooklyn, we already beat them back on December 20th. So I would like to see the Knicks capitalize and get that W. It's no reason why you should be losing to the Nets. I
And they
think
just
Denver. I'm
and they
sorry. Go ahead.
lost. They lost today to the Clippers. They had them though. They were up, but the Clippers went on a 22-0 run. What? A
And see,
22-0.
and that's the thing. The Knicks are known for doing that too. They've come back from down 20 something, but the Knicks allow teams to crawl back into their lead, and you can't allow that to happen. And the Clippers are actually proving a lot of people wrong because people counted them with James Harden going there. They were just like Kawhi and Paul George is going to be injured. Now, granted, when the postseason comes, Kawhi and PG are known to be out because they're injured. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see what happens with that and how that ends up turning out. But nonetheless, the Knicks did beat Brooklyn already uh, back on the 20th of December. That should be a win for sure. I think Denver on Thursday, that's going to be a nice challenge game for the Knicks. I would like to see the Knicks. I find with the Knicks when they play the better teams in the league, they bring a higher energy. And when they play
Yeah.
teams who they know they could beat, they seem to come out mediocre. And I don't
Yeah.
know why the Knicks don't have that same energy as if they're playing a Denver or Brooklyn, or Milwaukee. You gotta be like, I don't care if you're playing San Antonio. You gotta come out and be like have that mentality of being able to put teams away. So I think that the Denver game is gonna be a challenge. And then Miami, I think is gonna be another one too, where I want to see what the Knicks do against the Heat. And the Knicks are definitely more than capable of beating all 3 teams for sure, especially between Denver and Miami. But I want to see what the Knicks do playing against both of those teams. And I think also with the Nets, the Knicks shouldn't sleep on those guys. They may come out with some high energy that the
Yeah.
Knicks maybe are not ready for. And then, now you find yourselves down and or playing back, a back and forth game, which I don't want to see the Knicks doing. And also even with like Denver, I don't want to see the Knicks have it close in the first half and then the third quarter, Denver pulls away and now the Knicks are like done. There's no coming back because now they're down by 20, 25. So I think it's important that both not only Randle and Brunson have good games, but the supporting cast steps up and, you
Role
know,
players, yeah.
right, and play their role and help those guys out. So I'm gonna go 2-1 for this week. I want to say 3-0, but I'm gonna go 2-1, and I hope the Knicks could stick to that. Again, I'm really keen on the Knicks getting their W's this month and racking up some more wins. I know I saw an article, I think, by the New York Post where they said the Knicks are looking like they're on track for 50 wins, but we'll see because they need to beat the teams they're supposed to beat. And I think that the teams that are challenging, the Knicks need to prove that they can beat those teams as well. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Um, Salute Eddie. He said Nets is a trap game. They have nothing to lose, so expect them to come shooting threes. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that is so true.
and the Knicks have to be prepared for them. And I think sometimes the Knicks they sleep on teams like that, and you're looking like, how are we down to a team like like the Nets, who are not good. So
Guard that perimeter. Yeah. Oh,
right. So for sure, I think in all games the Knicks need to for sure guard the perimeter, help out when they're rebounding, attack the paint too. Because I think that's another thing the Knicks kind of shied away from minus the last game. They actually had 64 points in the paint, but I want to see them be aggressive and bring the ball in. And I mean, hopefully Tibbs could give like Malachi Flynn some playing time or minutes, but it doesn't look like he's going to do that because Jalen Brunson is back. So we'll see. And just hoping that guys stay healthy throughout the game. Yeah, the Knicks can't suffer coming out lackadaisical in the third. And that's the problem. That's what I mean. Like they have to bring the energy at the start of the games and then for the third quarter and then close out the fourth quarter strong. You can't afford to come out sloppy Joe. Yeah, Precious had a really good game. We were speaking about that in the beginning, about how he came out and had a strong game. And, I think if Tibbs gives Precious the minutes, I think that Precious can be an asset behind Hartenstein because he proves that he can score, and if only Hartenstein would take the three sometimes and shoot the mid-range jumper, he would be more of an offensive threat as well. But he just, has shied away from doing that since he's been on the Knicks. But yeah, we'll see what happens. We just wanted to come and do a quick show for you guys. And then we will be back to do some post-game coverage. And shout out to Dope Soul Sports and Knicks Talk, to Stephanie, aka Queen. Um, we will be having an all women's panel show this Wednesday on her channel. So for those of you who follow her, and if you don't, those who are new here, subscribe to our channel, of course, and then go subscribe to Dope Soul Sports and Knicks Talk. Every month we do an all women's panel and we discuss all things New York Knicks, and it's a really great show. So check it out. I think we'll be on at 7:30 this Wednesday. And yeah, shout out to the chat for joining us. We appreciate to die for. We appreciate you guys and Eddie. And I think that's it for us today. Anything else for you before we get out of here?
no, I'm going Nick 3-0.
You standing by that 3-0?
Standing by. That's right.
Yeah, I mean, well, we'll see what goes on with the Knicks as far as that. And next week we will be at a Knicks game, so we'll let you guys know more about that, and we'll get some footage for that too, and post it up here on YouTube. So, yeah, exactly. Salute to the Ghost Watchers, the quiet ones. And yeah, hit the like button, guys. Even the Ghost Watchers, hit the subscribe button. Those of you who are new here, hit the subscribe button. We do a lot of post-game, pre-game coverage on the Knicks, and you'll catch us being on other Knicks content creator shows as well. But as always, we want to thank everybody for joining us and watching and supporting the channel. We really, really appreciate it. Hope everybody had a really great weekend. And as always, like we always say, we out. Peace.
Peace.